2, 3, 4.
That was a little snippet of the Deep River Blues, which is a tune that Chris and I discovered we both knew and loved when we met for the first time a few months ago to begin sharing the stage, preparing to share the stage here today. Throughout my life, I've been fortunate enough to be in many situations where social connections and a sense of community were fostered through making music. Growing up, I would sing with my family in church every Sunday. In 6th grade, I picked up the trumpet and joined the school band program. Playing in jazz band and marching band effectively gave a shy, non-athletic kid like me a social life during middle and high school. Band offered me a place to belong and a way to work towards a common goal with a group of my peers. In college, I became interested in playing folk and bluegrass music on stringed instruments, which opened up a whole new world of musical community. Visiting a new city, I could find a bluegrass jam online, show up at a bar or cafe with my mandolin, and have a shared language and instant connection with a room of people I'd never met before, often with decades of difference in age. Playing over the years, I've been continually amazed by music's ability to dissolve interpersonal barriers, forge friendships, and cultivate a sense of shared identity. When I began teaching as an environmental educator, I discovered another realm where I could share music. Leading evening sing-alongs with rowdy groups of middle school students. Officially, we were supposed to help the kids wind down and prepare for bed, but more often than not, these so-called quiet sings were rather spirited affairs. This mandolin experienced more than a few scratches and broken strings as I played to auditoriums of fist-pumping 13-year-olds, all of us singing at the top of our lungs such campfire classics as The Eye of the Tiger. Song killed every time, literally. I also at this time recognized a songwriting opportunity. I began making up tunes to share with my students that reflected the ecology lessons I tried to teach during the day in the woods. Songs that told the life histories of some of the creatures we encountered, with a dash of dramatic anthropomorphism thrown in for good measure. In addition to being a fun excuse to make up goofy tunes to sing with kids, I hoped these songs could help my students remember some of the remarkable adaptations and ecological value of some generally underappreciated organisms. So I'd like to share one of these songs with you today. I'd like to ask you right now to take a moment to conjure up your inner 12-year-old. For some of us, this might not be very hard to do. And I want you to imagine that you're away with your classmates for a week at nature camp, and you spent the day hiking in the woods, catching salamanders, playing team building games, probably had too much dining hall pizza for dinner, and now it's time for some singing before bed. And I'd like to share a little tune with you about that perennially popular subject for hit songs, the dispersal behavior of spiders. As you may or may not know, spiders have an incredible ability to actually use their thread to fly through the sky and colonize new habitats, which is called ballooning. So this little tune I'm going to share with you today does have some audience participation. I'm going to teach you how to sing along with the chorus and some other things. So your part in the chorus is very, very easy. It goes like this. The sky is filled with tiny little spiders. Let's do it all together. Ready? Go. The sky is filled with tiny little spiders. And I sing, ballooning above on the breath of the wind. Again, the sky is filled with tiny little spiders. So easy. That sounded great. Also, while you're singing that, you should put your hands in the air, kind of make a conducting motion to the beat, and wiggle your fingers as if the auditorium were in fact filled with tiny little spiders. And if your inner 12-year-old rebels against this idea, thinking it to be uncool, just remember, if we all do it, it becomes cool. Speaking of cool, you also have a yodeling part. At the end of each verse, you have a yodel that comes in just like this. Yodel-ee-hoo. Let's try it all together. Yodel-ee-hoo. All right, a little bit louder, but that's pretty good. So Chris will signal the yodels to help you remember at the end of each verse. I'll signal the beginning of the chorus with a leg kick And off we go. In the shade of a maple by the banks of a pond, a dutiful mother stands guard o'er her young. She's wrapped them up snug in a silken cocoon, and she knows that their hour of hatching is soon. A little flatter next time. Her wee little spiderlings finally emerge. They stretch their 8 legs and they build up their nerve to leave their mother, their web and their home, and sail away into the wide world alone. They crawl up to the tops of the leaves and the twigs, letting out silk and long glittering threads. A breeze comes and catches their silk like a kite, and those spiderlings rise up and take to the sky. Well, the sky is filled with tiny little spiders, ballooning above on the breath of the wind. The sky is filled with tiny little spiders, ain't no telling where they might land in the end. Tell me, little spider, the places you've been. Way up in the sky with the clouds and the birds, our dutiful travelers gaze down o'er the earth. Though many get eaten and many get lost, a few just might hit the arachnid jackpot. One flew to Peru and another Tibet. One flew to Zimbabwe, her brother Quebec. One found a small island in a tropical sea. Yes, those spiderlings know how to travel for free. Well, the sky is filled with tiny little spiders, ballooning above on the breath of the wind. The sky is filled with tiny little spiders, ain't no telling where they might land in the end. Tell me, little spider, the places you've been. One came down in a neighborhood, it might have been yours, and built her own web underneath the back porch. She eats lots of skeeters and flies every day. Better thank a little spider for preventing a plague. Well, the sky is filled with tiny little spiders, ballooning above on the breath of the wind. The sky is filled with tiny little spiders, ain't no telling where they might land in the end. Tell me, little spider, the places you've been. Maybe Berlin. Wonderful singing, everyone.
Now let me take you down from ballooning in the sky with spiders, my yodeling friends, and let's make a transition together from youthful beginnings across a lifetime, from child to elder. In a similar way that John uses his music to educate and inspire children, I bring my guitar to senior homes and serenade them with Americana folk music. Guess you could say I make my living playing guitar for grandmas. And it is a very humbling and rewarding experience. I visit 100 communities a year, and I play folk music, and for an hour's time, we share a moment that's very fun and exciting. But sometimes, a nursing home can feel like a darker place. 1.3 million Americans live in a nursing home, and the best homes among them, and the best treatment, and the best care can only benefit them so much, because medicine has a limit. There's still going to be folks that are depressed and that are lonely in those homes. So what do? Well, I found that every time I serenade seniors at nursing homes with my guitar, it's less about the music and more about the moment. My grandmother, she lives in a nursing home. She's 96 years old this year, and every time I go and visit her, I bring this guitar with me. This is my grandfather's guitar. He taught me how to play it. And I go and visit my grandmother. I go into the room. I sit down right in front of her. And I say, Meemaw, do you remember when Pop used to play this song for us? She looks up at me and she smiles and nods her head. Now, every time I play that song for my grandmother, I can see her expression change. I can see her whole physiology relax, almost as if she's remembering a moment when she first heard that song. Now, as I sit there with my grandmother, playing these old folk songs, looking at her, she's staring out the window, I can see something starts to happen. Not all at once, but you can see in her eyes as if a veil is slowly being lifted. She's no longer in the nursing home. She's young, and she's healthy, and she's out there dancing with my grandpa. Because in the end, it really doesn't matter whether you're young or old. A song wakes us up to those special moments in our lives.
We hope that by sharing about how we've both been able to weave music into our lives, our careers, and our relationships, we can convince you that there are all kinds of opportunities out there to incorporate live music into social settings that you may not have previously considered. We also hope you leave feeling inspired to seek out ways to participate in shared musical experiences, whether it's a concert or a dance, an open mic or a jam session. These experiences really do strengthen our connections, our sense of community, and celebrate our common humanity.
John and I got one more song for you. It's one that we wrote specifically for TED. It's a song that tells two true stories that we feel captures our message. That a song can bring us all together in sometimes unexpected ways.
Squinting in the sunshine, my thumb out for a ride. A big old semi-truck pulled over to the Oregon highway side. Grabbed my instrument and gear and climbed aboard. Greeted the driver as his diesel engine roared. He was a big man, maybe 53. He seemed unsure just what to make of his young scruffy company. Pointed at my case and said, well, can you play? Sick of all the same shit on the radio all day. So I tuned up my mandolin. I played through every fiddle tune I knew for him. After many miles he turned and told me, you're alright, I'll drive you down to California if you like. And then he started sharing stories from his past, how he'd been a pilot down in Mexico and even smuggled hash. Now he made his honest wage with his old truck, but never had the time to see his grandkids enough. We talked for hours till our time came to an end. And when I climbed out, I bid farewell to a friend. From all walks of life, kindred spirits can be found. And songs can find a way to common ground. A tune can hold the power to break the walls inside us down.
Oh, well, my grandma, you know, she's 96. Well, she loved to hear that guitar playing all those fancy riffs. She sits up and listens to the songs, and her friends, they do the same, but we sing along. Well, now my grandma's at the nursing home. When you need some extra help, it's just the way things gotta go. It's not the same, but she gets along. When she wants to feel at home, she sings this song. So I tuned up my guitar, and I played all of her favorite songs for her. I see in her eyes, she's full of life, and for a moment, she sits and enjoys the ride. Well, the places she will go, the folks she's always known, the emotions are unfolding. For a time she's not old, for a moment, memories of her life. And from the darkness, the songs, they bring her alive. Sometimes a song can cut right through a simple story inside a tune, can raise our eyelids, arouse our hearts. To reach each other, a song's a place to start. To reach each other, a song's a place to start. Music's a common tongue we've carried all along. So thanks for listening to our little tale.